So hello, you guys on the other side of the camera. We will now continue in English. You will get a brief overview of what was said before and more in detail what this request for proposal is about. And I will give the word to Bjarni now, who will go through this with you. Thank you.
My name is Bjarni Juliusson. I'm an independent consultant working for the ministry in preparing this process. I will give a brief overview of what we said during the Icelandic commentary. And well, let's just roll. This is a formal Icelandic request for proposal, and everybody in the European Economic Area is allowed to participate. And we are focusing on agile software design, as we will describe here in a little while. Firstly, the situation here in Iceland is kind of neat. We have this central communication gateway, Ísland.is, a portal where everybody, the public, companies can use electronic IDs to go through and connect to data, systems, etc. And this is a project evolving around this thing will be the one that we are opening for proposal. Here you can see several different sectors. Are we sending this out? Okay. Here we can see on this transparency the different sectors we are going to digitize, but okay, we are having a technology snag, but we will find a way to solve this.
Akkur ekki einhver þá einhver svona varstu með einhvern extender á þann?
Komið ekki út?
Já, þetta á hinum skjánum, þú teygðir þetta yfir. Þetta extended.
Já. Þetta þetta.
Done.
Þau sjá grófa mynd og svo geta þau fengið linkinn.
Okay, well, being in this business, we all are familiar with Murphy's Law. If something can go wrong, it will, and at the worst possible moment. But we solved the problem. So now you will be able to see what I was talking about. I'll quickly run through this again. The situation in Iceland is kind of neat because we have already managed to create this communication portal, Iceland.is, by which almost everybody can connect. They can connect using their electronic IDs, being the public, regular people, foreigners living in Iceland, companies, etc. And via Ísland.is, they can access already today quite a lot of information, data, systems, etc. And what we want to do with this project is to increase the number of such processes and data that we can connect to and look at. These are the fields which we want to increase the digital services, and quite a lot of the stuff you're seeing here is already in action. You can apply for passports on the web. You will pretty soon be able to apply for maternity leaves via the web. That is actually one of the first projects that we are going to be performing. And And in order to be able to perform these developments, we are looking for 3 different types of teams: web teams, web service teams, and self-service teams. And these are the teams that are going to be working in the project which we are starting early next year. Now, first of all, deadlines. All proposals must be delivered before January 15th, 2020 at 12 o'clock. Proposals coming later than that will not be accepted. Now, all participants are encouraged to send in questions on Tensign using the Tensign.com system, and you have to get your questions in no later than January the 5th. We will answer as they come, we'll answer on the fly, and we will answer every question no later than January the 8th. Important to keep in mind that we are asking for proposals. We have decided that the methodology for software design and implementation will be agile. There will be a bunch of projects. They will vary in size, scope, and type. We don't know how many they will be or how big they will be at this time, but we have already defined some of them, at least 3 of them, and we will start handing out projects in February, March, when we have the contracts finalized. The team is everything, and everything we are doing here evolves around getting good quality teams in. And this is a contract on cooperation, cooperation between the buyers and the teams, and between teams, because in some cases the projects will be large and will require more than one team. The project is development of central service gateway coordinated via Iceland.is. This is the project. The proposed teams will be selected via formal open RFP, request for proposal, and we will select quality teams, 6 teams of each of the 3 types we described before, and a maximum of 2 teams from each bidder. We want a large field, we want a large number of different bidders of different companies to participate in this contract. Small companies and startup companies, they can participate by joining up and form a single conglomerate and propose 1 or more teams. 3 types of teams, I said before. We are looking for self-service teams, 4 members, scalable up to 6 members, and these teams will be specializing in developing and implementing processes and applications, and we already have the first project lined up for the self-service team. We have API teams or web service teams, smaller teams, 2 members, scalable to 3, focus on promoting and analyzing web services, and we are using that X-Roads tool, which the Icelandic government bought the rights or access to 2 years ago. And we're looking for web teams, 4-member team, programming or implementing inner and outer webs for the purchasers. The requirements for participating teams are pretty stringent. There are requirements on the experience of the companies proposing the teams, of the knowledge, of the financial standing, and of the company size. But as I said before, smaller ventures can join up to form a company which fulfills the requirement regarding company size. Now, there are some important requirements to be fulfilled by the teams or by the bidders. They cannot be in debt regarding taxes, pension fees, etc. These are, well, EEA rules that we must adhere to. They have to be in adequate financial standing. They have to have an information security system in place, the GDPR thing that everybody knows about today. They have to have deep agile knowledge and experience, and the employees of the teams, the companies, must also have that experience themselves. It's not sufficient for a team where the company has good background in agile, but the team members, the team participants do not. That's not accepted. there are different teams and there are different requirements for each team. We describe this in detail in the RFP document. Basically, we are emphasizing broad knowledge and experience on the employees. Now, the purchasers reserve the right to scale team size up and down with regard to the project scope. And the purchasers can choose to solve complex tasks by joining up more than one team, several teams. And we request that in some cases the teams, they work on site at the purchaser premises. The extent of the proposed contract or contracts, because we will be making contracts with up to 18 teams, all governmental agencies and ministries in Iceland, governmental organizations, they can use this contract. Potentially, we believe that we're going to be buying between 40 and 60,000 man-hours in the next 2 years. This is, of course, subject to financing, but we have already ensured the financing of the first year. I iterate, there is an indefinite number of projects. We don't know how many projects will be contracted when the contracts are done. Up to 6 teams of each type and only up to 2 teams per contractor. So the maximum number of teams is going to be 18. Now, we see this is an open request for proposal, which means that everybody can join in and participate. Of course, they have to fulfill these stringent quality requirements I spoke about earlier. Each team will be given a final grade. The grade will be based on quality, costs, and on presentations and use cases. The quality grade will weight 15%, the hourly costs 30%, and the use cases and presentation 55%. Where of the use cases themselves will be 35% and the presentation 20%. Based on this grade, we will select the 6 highest scoring teams of each type. You can see here that in this example, there are 9 teams that have proposed or want to join in. And we have graded the yellow team with 8.33, the green team 8.14, etc., etc., etc. And the 6 highest scoring teams will be chosen. So the pink team, the gray team, and the orange team will not be chosen to participate in any projects. Now, we put in a small disclaimer. If grades of the 5th and 6th teams are much lower than the grade of the 4th team, we can have the cut-off point at 4. Now, the yellow team, however, is scoring the highest, and they will be chosen to participate in the first project to be implemented. Now, this is what we call an ordered framework agreement or an ordered framework contract. The team with the highest final grade will always be chosen for the next project, unless it's occupied. If it's occupied, we go with the next available team, that is the team with the 2nd highest grade, etc. Now, teams can decline to participate, but only once. They might be occupied in something else during the two-year contract period. So they can decline once to participate, and then we would hop over and select the next, the team coming after them with the next highest score. But after each project is finalized, we will re-evaluate each team's final grade by how they scored on the project. If they do well, their team grade, the final grade, will increase. If they do poorly, it will become lower. And this we will do every time a team goes through with a project. And there is a detailed description of this re-evaluation process in the RFP document in Icelandic. Now, we select most of the project by this highest order. The highest scoring team gets the first projects, etc., etc. But we can foresee conditions where we want to choose teams in a different way. So we can have what we call a micro RFP, a micro request for proposal. This is when, for instance, we have extremely large projects. We might want to perform a small, short request for proposal, but only with those 6 teams that have already been contracted. So we open an RFP, but only for these 6, and one of them will get the project in question. The contract, 18 teams in all, I said. The contract starts in February 2020 and will expire in 24 months. And there is a provision for extending the contracts by 2 times 12 months if both parties agree. The contract can be terminated with a 3 months notice, but only after 9 months. So we foresee, because we believe we have financed the first year anyway, we foresee that the first year we will most definitely be using this methodology. We will terminate the contracts if we believe that this is not working or if we don't have proper financing for year number 2. And we reiterate that contractors are not guaranteed to be chosen for projects in spite of having been chosen to participate in the contract. That depends on their grades and standing at each time, as I explained earlier. Now, we want to point out that the purchaser holds rights to all documents and all software and all products created by participating teams. The purchaser can use such software and descriptions as he wills, even with the assistance of a third party or other software houses or other teams. Now, the purchaser can also publish all products, including use cases as open software. And we'd like to point out to participants that this above requirement regarding publishing stuff as open software, it also includes the use cases. So take care of the environment you offer us to solve your use cases in, because that is going to be taken as public domain. Again, we think that there is a lot of things to gain in here. Firstly, we are performing one global request for proposal instead of several smaller ones. Easier, saving effort and cost for everybody. We think that by allowing smaller entities to compete and to participate, that is a gain for the market as a whole. And we believe that open source software is the way to go. And by producing software within this contract and publishing it at open, we are supporting innovation in many ways. And I believe that was it. These overheads will be made available on the TendSign web. And like I said before, you can always send in questions and notes on that TendSign web. They can be in English, and we will do our best to answer them expediently. Thank you.